right, hi everybody. Welcome in Monday edition of the Hometown Sports Huddle. Dave Walls with you today, flying solo. We got some good things coming up later in the week, and I'm glad that you are tuned in today because we got a couple interesting things to talk about. A lot of college football to talk about, but then we're also going to start locally with some baseball news. As you remember me telling you a week or so ago, the Pulaski River Turtles in the Appalachian League are now they were racing for a playoff berth. They have now clinched that playoff berth, but still have some things to play for here as the regular season wraps up on Thursday. Now, the River Turtles, they beat Burlington yesterday. A kind of come from behind win, 5-2. Off the top of my head, 5-3. Yeah, I think it was 5-3 they came from behind. However, the Turtles, well, now they are fighting to actually host an Appalachian League playoff game. So what has to happen over those next three games? They know they're going to be facing the Danville Otterbots. That's the good news. The problem is Danville has a one-game lead right now with 3 games left to play. Pulaski's on the road for Tuesday and Wednesday at Bluefield. Then they'll be home for the regular season finale on Thursday. And this year, the Eastern Division is hosting the championship game. So if Pulaski happens to get first place, they would play Friday night in a one-game playoff against Danville. Win that, they'll host the championship game at Calfee Park on Saturday night. Now, I talked to players earlier in the late last week, I should say, and they were talking a little bit about what it takes to play at Calfee Park and how much a win and how much this playoff run means to them.
You know, trying to get ahead of hitters, and they did that last week. In past weeks, we haven't done that real well at times, but last week it kind of gelled. Absolutely, and they all see the standings now. They're all looking at that, and naturally.
Well, we completely froze up there, but we are back, and sorry about that. Don't know what was going on, but hey, we are back here on the huddle as that was the manager of the Pulaski River Turtles, another player, just talking about, they were looking up, they've been hitting the ball better than anyone, still the highest scoring team in the entire Appalachian League, and the River Turtles, again, though they've got 3 more games, Tuesday, Wednesday on the road, then they're back on Thursday. Should they overtake the Danville Otterbots, they would then host that Danville playoff game on Friday. Winner then hosts the championship game on Saturday. So the end of the regular season there, but Pulaski still plenty to play for. All right. Now we've been following, of course, the ACC kickoff. We were there in Charlotte, a little more than 2 weeks ago at this point, but certainly, we followed Virginia. We followed Virginia Tech, plenty of other teams in the ACC. Today, UNC was making a lot of noise as UNC's general manager, Michael Lombardi, has been placed on paid administrative leave. Come on, Dave. I know it's Monday. You got to talk a little bit, but Lombardi's leave is effective immediately. No end in sight for it because the school, according to ESPN, has a human resources complaint filed by a former front office employee over in Chapel Hill. Lombardi, makes $1.5 million a year to be the GM of the team. And if you listen to enough social media today, you'll hear people with a lot of horror stories about working for him. Obviously, nothing that we can, sit here and back up. But I think it's important to get a little bit more insight as the mindset of Bill Belichick coming into what I think is a very crucial year in Chapel Hill after a disastrous year one. I think is the best way to explain that. What's the mindset of the Tar Heels coming into week 2 of this season? For that, we need to go out to the ACC kickoff about 2 weeks ago, where Bill Belichick addressed the media, something, as you well know, he loves to do. He nothing better than talking to Bill Belichick as a media member. But he talked to the media, fielded some questions about where he sees the Tar Heels this year, what's ahead for him, and what's ahead for this team, as again, they enter what I think is a crucial year, not just for the team, but for Belichick and for everyone who works with him. A real kind of a make or break year in my eyes, year 2 of this program. Here's Bill Belichick over at the ACC kickoff.
You take.
Well, okay, we're having a fun with technology kind of day, and that's what's important. Tell you what, we'll take an early commercial break, and we'll get this sorted out. When we come back, we will hear from Bill Belichick. We'll take a 2-minute timeout and be back. This is the Hometown Sports Huddle. Please stay with us.
All right. Thanks, Trip. Appreciate it. Great to be here. Appreciate everyone being here as well. It's really exciting to to be here for the start of the season. This kind of gets things kicked off, even though we've been in summer workouts and get ready to head to training camp next week. But first I want to thank all the people that have been so supportive at North Carolina. Certainly Chancellor Roberts, Steve Newmark, our new athletic director. They've been fantastic. Our alumni have been awesome. Guys like Jim Coleman and Josh Clark, Vaughn Moore, guys like that have really been supportive of the program. And most of all, our players. These guys have really worked hard. We have 3 outstanding players here that have done a great job for us. They've given us a lot of leadership. Jordan Ships, been here, played a little bit his freshman year, but last year really was his first year playing, and Melcart and Christo both transferred in last year, and they've given us great leadership and done a great job with our program developing the culture that we need. And we have a lot of new players here. We have about 60 new players, so over half our team from last year. Excited to see how that comes along. It was a big freshman class because we kind of didn't have much of a freshman class in the 25 group. So we kind of combined those two and brought in a lot of young players that are going to be good, but it's going to take a little bit of time, and they're certainly working hard. And if they can follow the lead of the guys we have up here, they'll do well. Looking forward to opening the season in Ireland. That'll be a great trip. A couple of some of our players went over there to kind of preview, promote the game. It's be exciting to go over there. I've been involved in some of those international games myself from my time in the NFL. Those are experiences that you remember. You remember a lot of games. Certainly, I remember a lot of the championships and Super Bowls that I've been involved in. But certainly, the international games have a kind of a special flavor to them. And I'm glad our team will have the opportunity to experience that. As well as going up against a good TCU team. This conference is extremely competitive. I've spent quite a bit of time, getting to know the coaches in this conference as well as the administration. Jim Phillips, Mike Strickland, those guys. Al Riveron, has passed the torch on the officiating side. And I think that he did a great job there, and glad to see him helping with the transition. In that area, but overall, just excited to get the season started, get back on the field, and build off a good spring that we had, a good summer off-season conditioning program that we're kind of wrapping up now, and and start to block, tackle, run plays, and so forth, and look to make some significant strides, with bringing the team together, which again we're so far ahead of where we were last year. When we kind of started all over in training camp this year, we've got a much better base to build off of, and again, a lot of that's a result of the leadership that these guys have given us here to my left. Trip?
Coach, thank you. We'll take as many questions as we can during the course of our window. We will start left side. Gentleman with the blue shirt, first row.
Nathan Lowry with the Hill Brothers. Coach, after the new regulations with the transfer portal only being down to one window, and you've talked about already that this team is already way farther ahead than where they were last year. What's your confidence level with this team and with this recruiting class coming in, now having a whole year up under your belt? You've got some established guys up here. What's your confidence level in this team, and what are some things that you were excited about moving forward?
Yeah, well, we're just going to keep grinding away every day. That's what we try to do is string good days together and keep stacking them up, and and see where that takes us. So the expectations are to to be prepared, to come in and have a good day today, and rest, recover, refuel, rehydrate, and put another one together tomorrow. So we'll see where that takes us. I expect everybody to come in and perform at their best. I want to do the same thing I can to help the team in any way I possibly can, whether it's training or X's and O's, strategy, fundamental, whatever it is, and just continue to keep improving. We have a lot of good competition on the team, as I said, a number of young players. We'll see how quickly they come along. or don't. And that'll, we'll see how that goes. Expectations are to have good days and stack them together.
Coach, right side, first row.
Coach, Dan
Yes.
Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you?
Good, great. How about you?
Doing well, thanks for asking. Bringing in Bobby Petrino, who obviously has a history in the ACC, a history being a head football coach. What does it mean to you to have him on staff running your offense and just his expertise?
Yeah, it's been great having Bobby. I've known him for a long time, from the pro to college side, but also, when he was in Atlanta. A lot of things he does offensively are similar to what we did in New England. We've kind of been able to merge those together, protections, routes, play actions, balance attack, things like that. It's been great. A lot of our spring has been foundational, teaching fundamentals, terminology, installation of basic plays, things like that. And we'll get into more situational football and, and say more, game plan type adjustments, as we move forward here through the month of August. But, defensively, it's been, very competitive, a good challenge for our defense to see, the schemes and things that we're doing offensively and vice versa. I think, our offense has benefited from seeing the multiples we have on defense, and competition's been good. And so, but Bobby's been great to work with. I love having him on our staff.
Still on the right side, just over his shoulder, second row. Your next two questions will come side by side.
Hey, Coach, TJ Wilkerson from PBJ Production. Going into this second year, we saw great strides from Carolina towards the end. What have you taken from the previous year and brought it on into the second year, Coach?
Yeah, again, I think the biggest thing has been to see the improvement that we made. Our players that carried over from last year saw the improvement that they made. I mean, we're stronger, we're faster, and we're better, football players fundamentally and with technique and so forth. And just to continue to do that. And so, those guys, we had a lot of, PRs, personal records after practice with, speeds, lifts, and so forth. And, I think it just is an indication of our work ethic and the culture that, that we're establishing. And the guys who are leading the pack are, doing a great job of, setting the pace with their work ethic and establishing that culture.
So right next to him.
Henson Gibbs with the Locked On Podcast Network. Coach Belichick, last year was a bit of a struggle, to say the least, there. And when you look at what happened in its totality, what were things that you took away and you learned as a college coach that, you might not have been aware of or you might not have been expecting coming into this thing, that you go into year two with and say, all right, we'll be better in this way because I've experienced this and I know these pitfalls?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the relationships and, building, with all the people that are involved in the school, whether it's, academics, compliance, different training, the training things that we have to, go through, the hourly schedule and so forth that, we have to be in compliance with, things like that. And the different people that we're working with, we brought in some people that I was familiar with, but, also, again, multiple other people, in the university, great people that have really done a great job of supporting us, but, you just need to build that working relationship with. And so that's been good. It's been fun. And I appreciate the work that they've done. We'll work a lot more efficiently as we spend more time together and, get to know each other better and understand the needs and what's most helpful. But they've been great.
We'll stay on the right side, about the fourth row, actually third row back, right in the middle. We'll head down with the young lady with her hand in the air. Thank you.
I feel like this is a police lineup up here.
Hi, Coach. Gatsby Good with Women in Sports Media. The famous Patriot Way has become something talked about a lot in the media. Would you say that there's developing a Carolina way, and how would you describe that mindset and those pillars?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the Patriot Way is. That was kind of a catchy marketing term that, somebody came up with. So, honestly, that's not something we ever talked about at New England. But again, look, the main thing, as I said, that we're trying to do at Carolina is, build a culture with good team, good teammates, that's, tough and smart and works hard every day and continues to get better and improve. And that's really what it's about, both individually, in individual units like the offensive line or the quarterbacks and the receivers or the linebackers, and then collectively as, offensive, defensive units and the team in terms of functioning in situational football. Things like no huddle field goals or things like that involve multiple team unit executions.
Coach right side in front of me.
Yes.
Destiny Vance with the Juice Network. How are you canceling out the comparisons of the NFL and last season? And what are you telling your leaders that you brought with you as they go into this new season to have success?
Yeah. I mean, look, we learn every day. I learn every day. Learned from last year, the year before that, and all the years from before that. But right now, we're focused on going forward, what we can accomplish, today, this week, and in this training period, and then, we'll move on to our next set of goals. So, you take what you've learned from the past and try to improve on it. But, it's really about what you accomplish, in today and in our coming opportunities.
Coach, follow the center aisle up towards the left.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson with WLOS right here. Yep.
Oh, we got dueling microphones. Got it. Okay. Yeah, down here. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Coach, when people watch this North Carolina team next season, what is the first thing you hope they take away when they step on the field?
It's the first thing I don't know. They'll probably take away new uniforms.
Coach, the center aisle right there, second row.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Coach. Thomas Christopher of the League Winners. Players in the NFL can create longevity through their careers through niche special team roles. I mean, famously, you coached Matthew Slater, who was a great gunner. Can you just talk about the importance of those specialized positions, and does that go into your recruiting aspects at all?
Yeah, special teams, absolutely. Well, it goes into everything. It goes into being a good teammate, doing what's best for the team, and helping the team in any way possible, whether that's the player's got a starting role on offense or defense or not. But it's about being able to help the team. Certainly any college football player who doesn't go into the NFL as a starter, which is probably over 90% of them, would be expected to contribute in the kicking game unless they're an offensive or defensive lineman. So any player that wants to play in the NFL, being a good special team player is an absolute bonus to them being able to punch a ticket as an NFL player. So, our players understand that. We've talked about it. Honestly, they all want to be in the kicking game, be on special teams, because that'll help them, achieve their goals to the next level. So, it's not an issue at all. It's a very important part of the game, and our players realize that. But I've coached a lot of players in the NFL that never played on special teams in college because they were a starter, and they covered kickoffs as a freshman, never did it since then. And then they come to the NFL and they're no good in special teams, and then somebody beats them out, and then it's they don't have an opportunity in the league. And then there have been plenty of other guys like Jonathan Jones and Brandon Bolden and guys like that have had good special teams play that have gotten them onto the field, and then ended up being strong players on offense or defense because they initially started those roles in the kicking game. So, or Matthew Slater, who made a career and was a 10-time Pro Bowler in the kicking game because of his development on special teams. So, appreciate the question. Even, we have players like Christo, who came into college football as one of the top long snappers in high school, who also snaps for us, which honestly, as I've told him, to be able to long snap and play a position in the NFL is unique. It's unheard of. It creates, a very unique value where you can possibly save a roster spot. So, those situations are real.
Coach, we'll squeeze in one last question. Left side, first row by the camera.
Coach Trevor Williams, Hills on Franklin Network. Last year there was a bit of a quarterback transition in spring, and some of the guys left. How important has it been this year with continuity in the room going in from spring to fall camp, and those guys being able to work together and having the same guys in the building in spring?
Yeah, it's been great. Last year the quarterbacks that played didn't take any snaps for us in the spring. Gio wasn't here, Max wasn't able to participate, and so that was it. This year, our quarterbacks after spring ball are still here. We're out running player run practices, which our players were never able to really do last year because we didn't have enough experience on either side of the ball to line up offensively or defensively and be able to run our plays. Now. Our team can go out there and we can run, PRPs with each other. They can continue to work on their plays, their fundamentals, their techniques, their terminology, or their communication, gain trust in each other. That's a huge, advantage that we didn't have last year, and the players have done a great job of that. From what I understand, I haven't been out there, but they've all spoken very highly about how productive those have been. So certainly starts on offense at the quarterback position by having an experienced quarterback who can get in the huddle, call the play, and know what everybody's supposed to do. And we just didn't have that last year. So, that's the type of thing when I say we're way ahead of where we were last year, that would be a good example of it. So, yeah, thanks for that.